The pop-up has a bad reputation, mostly deserved. But here's what people actually complain about. Being interrupted by something irrelevant, at the wrong moment, with an offer they don't want. Fix those 3 things and the complaint goes away. Nobody closes a pop-up thinking that was annoying when it just offered them exactly what they were looking for. The pop-up isn't the problem, what's inside is, and when and who it chose to. Think about every time a pop-up has genuinely irritated you. Was it the format, or was it because it fired before you've read a single word on the page? Was it because it was offering something completely unrelated to why you were there? Or was it because it covered the whole screen on your phone and the close button was invisible? That's not a pop-up problem, that's a relevance problem. And almost every complaint about pop-ups collapses into that same thing when you look close enough. So let's work through what relevance actually requires, because it's more specific than just show the right offer. The default on most pop-up tools is show immediately. That's the wrong default. A visitor that's been on your page for 3 seconds hasn't yet decided whether they're interested. Show them something before they're ready and you haven't started a conversation, you ended one. Behavioral triggers fix this. Exit intent waits until someone is actively leaving. Time on page waits until they've been reading long enough to be engaged. Scroll depth waits until they've seen enough on the page to know what they were looking at. These don't feel like interruptions because they happen at a natural break in what somebody was already doing, not on top of it. The difference between a pop-up that fires after 5 seconds and one that fires after someone has scrolled 60% down the page is the difference between ambushing someone in the doorway and catching them at the end of a conversation. Even with good timing, an irrelevant offer is still irrelevant. If you're running one campaign across your entire site, you're showing the same thing to someone who's just arrived from a Google ad, someone who's been on your list for 2 years, and someone who just dropped something in their cart. These people need completely different conversations. Page level targeting means the pop-up on your SEO guide is about your SEO checklist, not your generic newsletter. New versus returning visitor rules means you're not flashing a welcome discount at someone who's already bought from you twice. Device targeting means your mobile visitors get something that actually fits their screen. The moment you start treating visitors differently, the campaign stops feeling like something you broadcast at everyone and starts feeling like it was meant for them specifically. That's the whole shift. Timing and targeting get your campaign in front of the right person at the right moment. But if what's inside isn't worth their attention, you've wasted both. Join our newsletter. It's not an offer, it's a request. The visitor has to give you something, their email, their attention, in exchange for the possibility to receive some emails. That's not a trade most people want to make without a better reason. A discount on the product they were just looking at? That's an offer. A free trial, no credit card, no commitment? That's an offer. The value has to be obvious and specific. And when it is, the pop-up stops being an obstacle and starts actually being useful. This is the last piece and the most overlooked one. Pop-ups that want too much, multiple form fields, 3 different buttons, a headline that doesn't quite explain what's happening, create friction at the worst possible moment. Someone who was already going to say yes now has to stop and think. Most of them won't bother. So, one ask. One headline that makes the value clear, one button. The simpler it is to respond, the more people will. When you stack the right trigger, the right audience, a real offer and a clean ask, the pop-up stops being what people mean when they say they hate pop-ups. It becomes something useful that showed up at the right time. That's the version worth building. Walkthroughs for the triggers and targeting are linked below. I've included a helpful video to the side of me, and if you want to get into the setup, and if you're starting from scratch in OptinMonster, the beginner guide is linked in the description. If you like this video, please subscribe and thank you for watching.